देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतेरुत्तमास्तु भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी यं सानुभावमखिलं श्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपमतितीर्षतं तमन्धं संसारिण करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुमुपयामि गुरोर्मुनिम्. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, the creation of fourth order, chapter 23, Maharaj Prithu's going back home, text number 20. Ativa bhartur vrata dharma nishtaya susrusaya charsha dehaya traya navindatartim parikarshitapi sa preyaskarasparsanamana Ativa bhartur vrata dharma nishtaya susrusaya charsha dehaya traya navindatartim parikarshitapi sa preyaskarasparsanamana nibriti ativa bhartu vrata dharma nishtaya susrusaya charsha dehaya traya navindatartim parikarshitapi sa preyaskarasparsanamana nibriti
Ativa bhartur vrata dharma nishtaya
bhartur vrata dharma nishtaya
susrusaya charsha dehaya traya
susrusaya charsha dehaya traya
navindatartim parikarshitapi sa
navindatartim parikarshitapi sa
preyaskarasparsanamana nivriti
preyaskarasparsanamana nibriti
Ativa bhartur vrata dharma nishtaya
ativa bhartur vrata dharma nishtaya
susrusaya charsha dehaya traya
susrusaya charsha dehaya traya
navindatartim parikarshitapi sa
navindatartim parikarshitapi sa
preyaskarasparsanamana nivriti
preyaskarasparsanamana nibriti ativa bhartur vrata dharma nishtaya susrusaya charsha dehaya traya navindatartim parikarshitapi sa preyaskarasparsanamana nibriti ativa very much. Bhartuhu, of the husband. Vratadharma, vow to serve him. Nishtaya, by determination. Susrusaya, by serving. Cha, also. Arsa, like the great saintly sages. Deha, body. Yatraya, living condition. Na, did not. Avindata, perceive. Artim, any difficulty. Parikarshita, api, although transformed to become less lean and thin. Sa, see. Priyaha krita karkara, very pleasing. Sparsana, yeah. Sparsana, touching. Mana, engaged. Nirviti, pleasure. Nirvriti. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Although she was not accustomed to such difficulties, Queen Archie followed her husband in the regulative principles of living in the forest like great sages. She lay down on the ground and ate only fruits, flowers, and leaves. And because she was not fit for these activities, she became frail and thin. Yet, because of the pride in serving her husband, she did not feel any difficulties. Please repeat. Although she was not accustomed to such difficulties, Queen Archie followed her husband in the regulative principles of living in the forest, like great sages. She lay down on the ground and ate only fruits, flowers, and leaves. And because she was not fit for these activities, she became frail and thin. Yet, because of the pleasure she derived in serving her husband, she did not feel any difficulties. Purport. The words Bhartur, Brata, Dharma, Nishtaya indicate that a woman's duty or regulative religious principle is to serve her husband in all conditions. In Vedic civilization, a man is taught from the beginning of his life to become a brahmachari, then an ideal grihastha, then banaprastha, then sannyasi, and the wife is taught just to follow the husband strictly in all conditions of life. After the period of brahmacharya, a man accepts a householder's life, and the woman is also taught by her parents to be a chaste wife. Thus, when a girl and boy are united, both are trained for a life dedicated to a higher purpose. The boy is trained to execute his duty in accordance with the higher purpose of life, and the girl is trained to follow him. The chaste wife's duty is to keep her husband pleased in householder life in all respects. And when the husband retires from family life, she is to go to the forest and adopt the life of Banaprastha or Banavasi. At that time, the wife is ought to follow her husband and take care of him, just as she took care of him in householder life. But when the husband takes the renounced order of life, namely sannyasa, the wife is to return home and become a saintly woman, setting an example for her children and daughters-in-law, and showing them how to live a life of austerity. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, his wife, Vishnupriya Devi, although only 16 years old, also took the vow of austerity due to her husband's leaving home. She chanted her beads, and after finishing one round, she collected 1 grain of rice. In this way, as many rounds as she chanted, she would receive the same number of rice grains and then cook them and so take prasada. This is called austerity. Even today in India, widows or women whose husbands have taken sannyasa follow the principles of austerity, even though they live with their children. Prithu Maharaj's wife, Archi, was steadily determined to execute the duty of a wife. And while her husband was in the forest, she followed him in eating only fruits and leaves and lying down on the ground. Since a woman's body is considerably more delicate than a man's, Queen Archie became very frail and thin. Parikarshita, when one engages in austerities, his body generally becomes lean and thin. Becoming fat is not a very good qualification in spiritual life, because a person who is engaged in spiritual life must reduce the comforts of body, namely eating, sleeping, and mating, to a minimum. Although Queen Archie became very thin from living in the forest, according to regular principles, she was not unhappy, for she was enjoying the honor of serving her great husband. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalan Sri Guru Vaisnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagajatan Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaspati Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpataru Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desaparini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ateva Bhartor Vratadharma Nishtaya Susrushaya Charsha Deha Yatraya Navindatartim Parikarshitapi Sa Priyaskarasparsanamana Nibhiti. We can learn the ideal family life, an ideal husband and ideal wife from Vedic scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam by the example of kings and rishis and sage and saint. Rupa Goswami has very carefully says beautiful verse about the importance of all these Vedic scriptures in order to practice devotional service. If we practice devotional service but we ignore the rules set up in the Shastras, Shruti Shastras, Smriti Shastra, Purana Shastras, Vedas, Upanishads, and perform devotional service whimsically, then it will simply create a big disturbance in society. So, Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, Pancharatrim Vidim Bina, Aikantukim Harer Bhakti, Utpata Eva Kalpate. Shruti means those scriptures which were heard by great saintly person and brought to us. Smriti means whatever they heard, they remember. Smriti. Like all the Dharma Shastras, Manu Smriti, Yajna Balka Smriti, so many Smritis. They are teaching mainly three things: behavior following religious principle and atonement, prayaschitta. All the Dharma Shastras teaches us that, okay, if we need to live a pious life, we need to perform our prescribed duties, and on the way of performing activities, we may commit some offenses, so we need to do a prayaschitta. So those are the activities taught in this Shastras. And we have a Puranas. Puranas are the more explanation to Vedas, Upanishad. Whatever is not very clear in Upanishads, in Vedas, and in another word, Vedas and Upanishads are very difficult to understand. People cannot understand the message of Vedas and Upanishad without studying Puranas. Because Puranas telling the same truth, same fact in the medium of stories. Like Veda says, Satyavrataha, Satyavadaha, speak truth. And people do not know what does speaking truth means. In Srimad Bhagavatam, when we hear about the story of Harishchandra Maharaj, then it is showing what is the practical application of speaking truth. It is explained in a historical form. And there are several kinds of stories in Srimad Bhagavatam. One are real stories of some devotees, great devotees like Dhruva Maharaj, like Prahlad Maharaj, great Maharajas, great saintly personalities that really happen in their life. And there are another type of stories that we find in Srimad Bhagavatam. They are allegorical stories, fictitious stories. In order to teach some lesson, they make like a fictitious stories, like the story of Puranjana Maharaj. Puranjana story is a fictitious story, but the meaning of telling this story is to remind that because we are very dull and dumb in the age of Kali, we do not understand the direct instruction. So they are comparing us with something else and then narrating the story. And at the end, oh, that personality is no one but me, myself. And there are some other stories like Kalpa Veda stories, the stories from different kalpas. The writer can pick the stories from different kalpas. Like we have a Baraha, a story of Baraha in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is mentioned one is a Sweta Baraha, one is Rakta Baraha, one is white boar, the incarnation of Lord as a boar in a white color in one kalpa, and in another different kalpa, the same Lord Barahadev appeared in a raid. So in this way, we have stories from different kalpas. And in Puranas, those stories cannot be found in chronological order. They can be picked from anywhere in order to explain the truth in more detail so that common people can understand. So those people who study Vedas, they consider Vedas and Upanishad are highest and final authorities. They do not give much priority to Puranas. But Madhvacharya says that Purana, the meaning definition of Purana means a Purana itihi Purana, one who is complete in explaining all those messages in Vedas and Upanishad, that is completely explained in Purana. So Vaishnavas are always giving more focus on Puranas because they are completely explained in a common language so that everybody can understand. While speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami made very clear from the very beginning what is the duty of all liberated Mukta people, Mukta Atmas, all Gyanis who are already liberated from this material world, who do not have anything to do with this world. They are completely free from this attachment of this material world. And those who are desirous of material desires, looking for material desires, so he has concluded from the very beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Just like in the Vedas, there are so many suktas, so many Shrutis, so many instructions, but among them, there are some conclusive, the prime, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Just like some statements are very conclusive, that they bring the whole meaning of all the suktas. In the same way, Sukadeva Goswami has spoken about the importance of chanting Hare Krishna mantra. That is the conclusion of everything for every people. So as we were hearing about how a chaste wife serve her husband at all conditions of life without considering her own personal pleasure. So that kind of civilization is no more existing at the present moment. Because neither men are qualified, they do not follow religious principle, they do not follow their own swadharma. People are completely fallen, the whole civilization has been crashed down. And almost all the population are in the level of Shudra, means having no any specific qualification. So there is no question of only women serving and following their husband if husband is not a qualified personality. If husband does not cultivate this knowledge of Bhakti Yoga or whatever his Swadharma, then there is no question that women can follow their footsteps. But ideally, that is the life. The whole purpose of family life is to give us great taste, to give up selfish desire. To become a selfish is very important qualities that in the first 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna focused on this, become selfish. Give up your personal interest, desire, and just follow what I say. So people who are miserly and selfish, for them, the family life is the best thing to practice. And in family life, a man who is not kind and selfish and give up this desire, he has to listen to the orders of his wife. Do this, do that. Bring me this, bring me that. Fulfill this desire. He works like a humble servant of his wife. And it gives us a big realization at some point. Yes, my purpose of life is to serve Krishna, but I'm stuck here. Oh my God. At some point, you have to come to the realization. Who am I serving now? Completely disastrous life if we deeply realize. So it is better for someone who can control the bodily urges and tolerate the interpersonal relationship in a community, then if they continue serving the Lord with that motive, that they will be free from all this entanglement of this material world. Because the greatest thing that can entangle us is the sex desire. When we base our relationship with that desire, then the real selfish, the seed of selfish start planting. The aham mameti, the feeling of aham mameti comes from that relationship that is established on the strong bound of sexual desire. Pumsam mitum Pumsam striyam mituni bhavam eta tayo mridu hridaya granthim ahur ata griha kshetra sutapt vittair janasya mohoyam aham mameti. Our that selfishness, the seed of selfish that we have, it started expanding through the wife and men and women when they unite together. Griha kshetra suta apta vitta. And then we start thinking, aham, and me and mine. So in order to come out from this illusory thought, Krishna created husband and wife so that they can practice this and they realize it and then come out from that. So this is how Vedic Varnasrama system was designed, that you only remain in certain ashram for some time. It's not your permanent position. You go there, you understand, you realize, and come up and rise and get more understanding and become Krishna conscious. Ultimately, become a sannyasa. Sannyasa not necessarily meaning giving away home and just going to forest. So within your mind, you need to give up that detachment, that this attachment to this material world. That is why Krishna created this death. For devotees, death is a golden opportunity to give up whatever remaining attachment at the time of death, which have to forcefully give up. So devotee appreciate death as the mercy of God. It's really deep to understand. All this subtle attachment that I have, all the gross attachment that I have, are forcefully taken away from me at the time of death. So devotees take death as blessing of Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought us a beautiful program because we are living in a Kali Yuga. People do not experience this Kali Yuga in heavenly planet. Have you ever heard that in heavenly planet there is Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga? They are always blissful. The ages does not change in heavenly planet. It mostly happen on the earthly planet because we are here in the mode of Rajaguna mostly. And we are very active and try to do so many things. And then in order to experience good thing, bad thing, result of our good karma, bad karma, time keeps changing. Satya, Dwapar, Treta, Kali. In Satya Yuga, people do not understand about the meaning of life because everybody is situated in mode of goodness. So for them to tease about, okay, you need to control your senses, doesn't make any sense. They are already doing that. That's why in order to perform a bhakti, Kali Yuga is the best. So it is said that even demigods want to come down and take part in this divine process of Sankirtan Yajna in Kali Yuga, because in heavenly planet they don't have such opportunity. So this way, Puranas, they are clarifying this meaning that are not clear in Upanishad and Vedas. Bhagavad Gita is a Gita Upanishad, the topmost, the actually natural commentary of all the Upanishads are Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna has brought so many clear concepts that were not cleared in Vedanta Sutras, in Upanishad. Even though there is all the same thing, but not very clearly. People can easily get confused. So there are certain cleared in Bhagavad Gita. I have some point, and then the first concept about Krishna brought in Bhagavad Gita is about incarnation, and then the concept of incarnation. How Krishna comes, paritranaya sadhunam, vinasaya chatuskritam, Dharma samsthapanarthaya yugi yugi. Why he comes, what is his goal, what is his purpose, very clearly explained in Bhagavad Gita. He gave very clear understanding. Krishna can take birth, appears in so many form. He can take so many incarnations. So the concept of incarnation is clear in Bhagavad Gita, which is not clear in Upanishad and other things. And another concept he made very clear, by studying Upanishad, people always get conclusion that God has no form. God is a formless. And all these prayers offered in Upanishad are very indirect, addressed to the Supreme Lord. So most of the time, Gyanis get confused and they say, yes, God has no form. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna clearly stated that I do have a form, I am a person, I have a feeling, I have an emotion, and I can exchange all those feeling emotion with my devotees, and my devotees always get great pleasure in glorifying my qualities. Parasparam. What is that verse? Parasparam. Bodhayantasya tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Matchitta madgata prana. Bodhayanta matchitta madgata prana. Bodhayanta parasparam. Kathayantasya mam nitya. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Krishna has established that I am a person. I have my personality, I have a feeling. My devotees they feel their mind of me, and they always think of me. And then this way, he has given a clear concept about God is a person. That information was not clear in Vedas and Upanishad, but in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has clearly stated. So that is a beautiful side of Bhagavad Gita. Another one has Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, people have understood Karma Yoga as so many ways. They think that let's do work in this world and enjoy all kind of activities and then make your life beautiful. And then they do not really connect to Krishna. But Krishna has very clearly stated throughout the Bhagavad Gita that every single activities you perform, you can connect that to me directly. Everything that you perform, it can be a beautiful offering to me. Yat karoshi dasnasi, yat jahoshi dadati yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kuruswa madarpanam. So every work can be a worship. Material people, they say that work is worship. So we do not need to separately worship Krishna if you are engaged in your prescribed duty. You do not need to be a devotee. You have to do your duty, then you don't need to care about bhakti. But here Krishna says that no, every single activities you should do thinking that I am the enjoyer of that activities and I am the one who can award or reward the result of your activities. So by connecting your every single activities to me, you will not stuck in the karmic result of your work, and you can be free from reaction. So he has clearly stated, actually Karma Yoga is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. It has really given us a clear message that how we can, being so busy in this world, we still become Krishna conscious. So that science has clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita by Sri Krishna himself. And another concept that Krishna has given us in Bhagavad Gita is whatever you think at the time of death, you become next life. Clearly. If I want to become a tiger, if I want to become a hog, if I want to become a demigod, if I want to become a tree, if I want to become an insect, or if I want to live in the water, if I want to go to moon, if I want to go to sun planet and have a fiery body, So, emem bhavi smaranam bhavam tejyati ante kalivaram. So, whatever state of mind, consciousness you have at the time of death, you will certainly get that body in your next life. So, this concept is very clear in Bhagavad Gita. And another clear concept that Bhagavad Gita explained is about Bhakti Yoga is the topmost yoga system. So if you see all the Bhagavad Gita 18 chapters, and if you see the conclusive verse, the final verse of all the chapters, it concludes in Bhakti. Yoginams api sarvesam mad bhakti anantaratma. So he says every chapter, at the end of the chapter, throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is focusing that Bhakti Yoga is the highest yoga system. So this is another clear concept that Gyanis and the student of Vedanta and Upanishad, they cannot come to this conclusion. For them, Bhakti is not very important. They want to acquire knowledge about God, and they want to remain unknown to God. But here in Bhakti Yoga, Krishna directly says, only by Bhakti you can understand me. That's why become my devotee. Do offer your obeisances to me. Manmana Bhagavat Bhaktu Adhyaji Mam Namaskuru. Yeah, all these steps he is concluding in Bhagavad Gita very clearly. And another concept Krishna brought in Bhagavad Gita that is not clear in all these other scriptures is that no matter someone is conditioned or liberated personality, he can never become God. Either you are Mukta Purush or you are Baddha Purush. You can never take the position of Krishna. But in the contrary, those who are the student of Vedanta, they say that you can become God. I can become God. We all can become God. And they chant, Soham, Soham, Shivoham. I am you. So means he. Aham means me. I am you, I am you, I am you. But devotees do not chant such things. Devotees add few another words into that mantra and they say, Dasoham, Dasoham, Dasoham. I am the servant of your servant. I am the servant of your servant. So Bhagavad Gita chapter 15 very clearly says about that even liberated people, after they are completely free from this material world, they also engage in my devotional service and they get great pleasure serving me with complete feeling, complete emotion, complete consciousness. So even such a liberated people get more rasas, more taste, more interest in doing my bhakti. So one living being can never take the position of God. This is another clear concept Bhagavad Gita bring to us. And another clear concept that we can discuss we learn from Bhagavad Gita is Saranagati. Saranagati. This is actually Saranagati means surrender. It's like a gateway to bhakti. Without having that mentality of surrendering ourselves to somebody, we cannot perform devotional service. And such devotional service become bereft of all these qualities. So Saranagati, we need to take shelter. Sarvadharman Parityaja is completely declared very boldly, Aham Mameva Sarananga Braja. So this concept of Saranagati is there in Bhagavad Gita. And Sukadeva Goswami, I was talking earlier about how this Harinam Sankirtan is very important to all classes of people. It's not only for Vaishnavas, it's not only for bhaktas, it's not only for yogis, or it's not only for gyanis, for everybody. He says that etat nirvidyamananam. Vidyamana means people having all kind of desires. Nirvidyamana means a liberated person, mukta purushas. Ichchatam akuto bhayam. Ichchatam means itcha, material desires. So many itchas. I want to live a better life. I want to live a happy life. I want to work hard. I want to drive a nice car. I want to do a married life, happy life. I want to achieve so many things in this world, full of ichas, chahanas, desires. Ichatam akuto bhayam. Akuto bhayam means like free from fear. Doubtless and fearless. Who are they? Those people who see God as a Paramatma within their heart. They meditate and they feel the presence of Paramatma in their heart. They don't care anything. They are not fearful. They are not hankering. They simply meditate. This free from all fear. I have Lord in my heart. Yoginam nirnitam. The word nirnitam is very, very important here. In Sanskrit, nirnaya means, what is nirnaya means? Suppose if we have a meeting, after a meeting we make some decision, or we write some minutes. So nirnaya means decision. So nirnitam means this thing has been decided, because the student of Sukadeva Goswami who are hearing Bhagavatam are not all devotees. All the big yogis, gyanis, devotees, everybody gathered together to hear from him, because they were very much interested to hear what Sukadeva Goswami says. And Sukadeva Goswami himself was not a devotee. He was Brahmavadi. He was also like Nirakarbadi in the beginning. And all of them were interestingly hearing what is he going to say. Now he's concluded that Harer Nama Anukirtanam. Here it's not only Kirtanam, Anukirtanam. Make this word even more grave and more important and more powerful. That is why all the big acharyas has picked this word and in their commentaries in different great books. Anu Kirtana means to perform this process of chanting within some guidance, or remaining with some sampradayas, or accepting spiritual master, or under somebody else, somebody's guidance. So Kirtanam means you are engaged in Kirtan, but if it is on your own, if you are not linked with some authorized parampara, or if you do not have your personal instructor, your spiritual master, your Shiksha Guru or Diksha Guru, then that kind of Kirtan again will lead us to nowhere. So it is very important to have some authority in order to perform this Kirtanam. Anu Kirtanam, another meaning of Anu Kirtanam means, Anu means to inspect ourselves within our heart, what is going on while doing bhajan. We may be reading so many volumes of book, like all the scriptures, but if we do not read ourselves within our mind what is going on, then we cannot advance in spiritual life. So we have to study ourselves within our heart. What kind of desires are going on right now in my mind? What am I struggling with? I need to introspectively research myself and then engage in devotional service. So this Anukirtanam, this is the final verdict of Srimad Bhagavatam, that he was speaking to all this big mass to clear their misconception. And This is what exactly all the Vedas and Upanishads are saying, but they are not as clear as what is written in Purana, Mahabharata, and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Sorry, sir, Srimad Bhagavatam. So, no matter if we are not living a ideal family life in this age, but if we simply remain and practice this Bhakti Yoga, it will gradually uplift our conditioning state of life, and it will take us to the highest perfectional stage from where we can understand the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and follow Bhakti Yoga even more seriously. I would like to stop here. Any questions, any comment or anything? Okay. Prabhu.
Thank you for the fantastic class. Very, very
Very good. Thank you so much.
useful explanations and nice quotes. Bring a lot of clarity points to the verse. I was hearing this morning or yesterday night, Yamuna Devi, Srila Prabhupada's disciple, very famous disciple, Yamuna Devi, who we hear every morning singing Govinda prayers. And Radha Swami was glorifying or speaking of something similar to this because in 1975, Guru Das Prabhu, who was her husband at the time, was to take sannyas. And so he took sannyas, and Srila Prabhupada apparently told her that although we don't have official sannyas for women, if you become sannyas in your heart, you become renounced, and you become celibate, and you become renounced lady, and you live your whole life dedicated to Krishna. Prabhupada actually gave you that instruction. And Guru Das abandoned his sannyas, Jumuna never abandoned her. That instruction from Srila Prabhupada. Radha Swami just glorifying her like anything, explaining how she lived her entire life fully dedicated to Krishna consciousness, like saintly woman, as this purport says. And she had, kind of moved away from the temple, had a house, and Radha Swami was saying, he'd never seen anybody worship deities like that. And Srila Prabhupada had actually given her two deities, Radha and Bihari. And that she would worship those deities every day of her life, very, very dedicatedly. And it's just very, very beautiful glorification. So that just reminded me of that. And that is, anybody can make spiritual advance and be the orders of spiritual master. And it was nice to come that you made such a nice point in delineating how the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam are not impersonal. And they clearly indicate Krishna is a person. In that 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you said that no one can become God. Krishna so clearly says that there are two types of beings, the fallible and the infallible. And besides these two, there's the Supreme Lord himself. And then he says, because I am beyond the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated in the world and the Vedas as that Supreme.
Here I say, thank you so much. The last three verses in chapter 15. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible, this is how you say, infallible. And because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas, and that Supreme Person. He is cutting very clearly the Mayavada. Another one he says, whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, Osana Bharata, Sarva Bhavina Bharata. And he says that, Iti guyatamam sastram idam uktam maya naga, etad buddhva buddhiman, syat kritya krit akritya sabharasa. This is the most confidential part of Vedic scriptures, O sinless one. And it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. So he has cleared that. Another thing I was thinking to bring Thank you so much about Mother Janam, Jamuna's story. So beautiful. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, one time one Brahmana disciple came to him and says, Gurudev, I'm a Brahman initiated, I have a trade, I can engage in, he was bringing some point. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur chastised him that, oh, you think you are Brahmana? Huh? You are not at all Brahmana, because you are given this Brahmana trade, so that you remember, you try to become a Brahmana. Like me, officially a Grihastha life, but I do not follow any rules of Grihastha life. It's really very deep rules and regulation in family life. But being in a Grihastha life, we are trying to become Grihastha. Like brahmacharis also have a very strict rules and regulations. So by being as a brahmachari, we are desiring to become brahmachari. So with this intention and motivation and desire in our heart, we may think that one day I may become a qualified brahmana, qualified brahmachari, qualified grihastha, and serve my dear Lord. If we have an intention to become a good, doesn't matter we need to be perfect in anything, because that is not impossible. But if we have perfect desire to become perfect, at least then that will lead us. Krishna liked that intention in devotee's mind, and he will uplift us from there. Yes.
The higher Dharma is ultimately wherever you're at, become a good devotee.
Yes, that's the goal.
Try to, aspire to be a good devotee more than anything else.
Yeah.
Whether you're brahmachari or grihastha, contrast.
The goal is to define your effort. 3 people were making a temple. I'll tell a quick story and close. There were 3 people, 3 devotees, let's say devotee who make temple. Devotee will make temple. There were 3 devotees. They were making a beautiful temple of the Lord. And one time they had a car accident and all 3 of them died on the spot. And people from 3 places, one from hell came. Yamaduta came to take 1 person out of 3. And that person said, oh, we 3 are dying. Why are you taking only me? What about them? No, they had a different thought in their mind. When you were making this temple, you had a desire that I'll make a nice temple. A lot of people come and I make a lot of money. That was your desire inside your mind. That's why you are going to hell, because you are thinking that I can make a temple and enjoy. And second person came from heavenly planet to take second person. And he asked, why me? Why you want me to take to heavenly planet? Why not to Vaikuntha? Because he is going Vaikuntha. No, you had a desire that you are thinking, I will make a temple. It is very good and auspicious to make. I will get a lot of pious credit by making a temple. So you have a desire to enjoy in heavenly planet. That's why I'm coming to take you heavenly planet. And there was another person coming from Vaikuntha, that he also asked, why these 2 people are going different direction and I'm going to Vaikuntha? Because you were thinking that after making this temple, I will serve the Lord in a nice way, in a devotional way. So you are qualified to come to Vaikuntha. So Prabhupada also said the same thing. Bhajan karu, pujan karu, mrityu janle hoi. Whatever we do now, if we have an ill intention inside, then this will be disclosed at the time of death, and we cannot escape that. The Supreme Judge will not excuse or oversee our inner intention. So we must have at least good desire to serve devotees and Krishna. If we cannot do it practically, at least in our mind, in our inner mind, we should have that desire that I'm not doing it for my personal gain. This is very, very important. Any other questions? Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Thank you. Very nice.